Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley, and welcome to Big 12 Insiders. Appreciate everybody being in here. Man, got an interesting show for you guys today. College athletics, was basically turned upside down on its head in March of 2020. Things haven't been the same since then with NIL and transfer portal just taking full effect. But really what caused the big uproar and the big tick was the COVID year. And we're going to discuss that in a little bit today as far as the COVID year, what's happened, why it happened, and what's going on with it. And now that it's going away, what is the future? So appreciate everybody being in. Again, before we get started, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in the comment section, and always hit the notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. So first off, the COVID year came about because in March of 2020, the entire world was turned upside down on its head. Now, again, I'm not getting into any of the details of COVID on whether you like it, don't like it, real, not real, whatever. That's some different conversation and not for this channel. But having said that, the world was turned upside down. People had to go work from home. Basically, the world shut off, which was wild, absolutely wild. But NCAA shut down its season. The basketball tournament. Every year I go to Vegas for the first round of the NCAA tournament, first two rounds. I think it's great. Me and my friends have gone for a really long time, almost 2 decades. And lo and behold, there was nothing. Got canceled. And you're like, okay, well, are they just postponing it? What's going to happen here? And within a few days, it was, nope, this is not coming back anytime soon, which should have been our first sign that this thing was serious. Because with the amount of money that everybody stood to lose and did lose, that should have been our first sign that, okay, this is serious because people are losing hundreds of millions of dollars. And in the NCAA's case, billions of dollars for not being on. And you're like, wow, okay, they're not going to let this kind of money go unless this thing is serious or perceived to be serious. Again, different conversation, different day. But things came out of it. Things that I didn't think would ever come out of it. First off, I want to mention, we blame the NCAA for everything. And they deserve a lot of blame for the mess that what college athletic is right now, is that they literally could have, just progressed with the times, as things evolved, out or on one side of it, as the sports evolved, the NCAA didn't. They stayed archaic. So now every time you look up, they get sued for something and they lose because of their archaic ways and refusal to change. That's part of it. But you can't blame the NCAA for this. I mean, they didn't cause a worldwide pandemic. All right. So that's one good thing that you can say, hey, the NCAA, you didn't cause this. But did they cause the problem of what a lot of people perceive as ruining college athletics? And let me tell you what I mean by that. So should they have had tough love? And what I mean by tough love is, when I played, and a lot of people out there, I mean, you could probably go back 15 years ago. You had 5 years to play 4. That's it. Every now and then you heard of a certain circumstance of some sort where a guy maybe got a 6th year. But that was so few and far between, it wasn't even funny. But you had 5 years to play 4, whatever it was. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. There was no excuses. There was no extensions. It was 5 years, play 4. That's it. Okay. And everybody lived with it. Everybody knew it going in. Everybody was happy with that. By the way, quick disclaimer, I'm in favor of that now. I'm in favor of 5 years to play 4 or 5 years to play 5. If you want to give them 5 years, great. That's it. I'm not in favor of any extensions. If a guy gets hurt, everybody gets hurt. It's athletics. That's part of it. But getting back on point, that's what the rules were, and nobody really complained because that's what it was. And then COVID happened. And then the seasons got canceled. And then the NCAA bent. And they bent, and in my opinion, it was wrong. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of you saying, come on, Big B, you don't have a heart. Their season got canceled. It didn't have anything to do with them. Why would you say such a thing? Well, this is why. First off, the world didn't stop. Let's just say that. Like, my mortgage was still due. Okay? And now, granted, you could say, well, you could work from home. I totally understand. But the world didn't stop. So mortgage was still due. My car payment was still due. I still had to eat. Same with my wife. Same thing for you. So the world didn't come to a stop. They may have shut down athletics, but as much as we love athletics, and I am a deep lover of it, it is entertainment. And sometimes entertainment has to be put on pause, for the greater good. For instance, when 9/11 happened, entertainment was put on pause. Okay? But the world didn't stop. Your mortgage was still due. You still had to eat. The world didn't stop because of that. Wars go on. The world doesn't stop. So I understand the fact that we're disappointed. It's not fair that somebody's season got canceled. I get all of that. But it's just part of life, man. Here's the thing that I would say. More than anything, people talk about what college is for. College, you go there, you get an education. That's part of it. But the most important part about college, and I'll battle anybody with this, is going to college is about experiences and about understanding the real world. Whether you have to deal with different types of people, whether you have to deal with different types of situations on your own and be able to navigate that so you can still have a successful life. That's what college is about, because you're somewhat sheltered in high school. Well, most people are. And high school is a controlled setting. College, while it can be somewhat controlled, no parents around, people living on free will, making their own decisions. It's a lot different. And that's part of what the college experience is. I say all that to say is, look, life isn't easy and life isn't fair. There's some of us out there that understand that life isn't fair to a higher degree than others based on the circumstances either you've been dealt with or you've had to deal with. Life ain't fair, just to put it point blank. So yes, while I understand that you got your season canceled, I get that part of it. That didn't mean that they should have given you an extra year. I'm sorry. Because you know who didn't get an extra year? The high school senior. The innocent sport that we claim is so innocent. They didn't get an extra year. State championships in basketball and all across the country, those didn't get played. Track championships, baseball, softball, all tennis, all these sports that didn't get to finish their season, and they didn't get a do-over. Like, they didn't get an extra year of high school to say, hey, man, I get it. You didn't get a real high school graduation. You had the graduation on a damn Zoom call, but we're going to give you an extra year. That didn't happen for them. Now, again, the college and high school is different, but we're rewarding high school kids, rewarding college kids of an extra year for something that they didn't cause. Wouldn't the advantage of, hey, let's let these high school kids do the same thing. Middle school kids do the same thing. Let's hold everybody back. But you didn't do that. So you put basically the kink in the hose was in college. And everybody's talking about, well, with COVID and the transfer portal and all this stuff, the it's a backlog of people, and people are going to take transfers over, high school kids. All of that's true, but it got started here. This is where the hose got the kink, is at college, because they backed up everything and gave everybody another year. You can come back. We'll act like this year didn't even happen. And they did it for everybody. Now, how the hell was that fair? How did that even make sense? I guess that's a better word, because fair, maybe it was. But then the backlog of high school kids, they had to graduate. They had to move forward. Then what do? Well, as a college coach, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a guy that is fresh off of college or in college that's seasoned, or would you rather have a guy fresh out of high school that's coming to college? Now, you could say, well, come on, Big B, that happens right now, with the transfer portal. That's part of it. Yes. But you know what isn't happening? Grown men, 24 and 25 years old, 5 years ago, weren't playing against 17 and 18-year-olds. That's the difference. And now that's happening. And this, in my opinion, that's where it started. The COVID years is giving these kids, or these men or women, whatever you want to call it, an extra year. And again, it's no fault of their own. I'm not blaming them. But life is tough, man. Life is tough. Sometimes you have to do things and you have to accept things that had no fault of your own. You have to accept them for what they are. And I thought it was a huge mistake by the NCAA's part in allowing this COVID year. Now, the good thing about that is these COVID years, it apparently is now, it's flushed through. That cycle has been flushed through. You still have a couple of guys that are out there. They're still giving these crazy waivers to junior college guys that, hey, you played junior college during COVID. Well, why the hell does that matter? Well, you played junior college during COVID, so we're going to give you an extra year. That's one of the stupidest things I think I've ever heard of. Because if COVID hadn't happened, then you used a year of your eligibility or two at junior college. That's it. You don't just get unlimited time. Oh, I went to junior college, so my clock doesn't start. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of. It's crazy. And you're looking at a guy that went to junior college. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I went to JUCO. I was the number one junior college player of the year in 1996. Now, that was, a million years ago. So I understand how important JUCO can be to getting to where you're trying to go. And here's the thing. Nobody goes to JUCO because they want to. I didn't want to go to JUCO. I had to because my first year of college, I refused to go to class. You do that, eventually you'll line up in JUCO if you continue to want to do anything athletically. That's the way it works. So nobody's just, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go to JUCO. I'd rather go there than Michigan. I'd rather go to junior college than, to go to Oklahoma State. Yeah, it's a better fit. It's a better fit for me. No, either you weren't good enough, you had something that you did as far as academically, or you got in trouble and you couldn't get accepted anywhere. Whatever the case, people are going to junior college for a reason, and that should be held against you. Now, you could say, well, if you're not good enough, or maybe you slip through the cracks, again, we're back to life being fair. Life isn't fair. I'm sorry. And these COVID years that happened, that's this bottleneck. Because the one thing that I don't like about the transfer portal, or I shouldn't say it's not the only thing, but the biggest thing for me is the grown men and the grown women that are playing against children. And you can say, come on, B, they're not children anymore. They're 18. They can go to the Army. Yar, yar, yar. Whatever, man. An 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, that's a child. Shut up. Stop it. That's a child. And you're never going to be, I'll die on the hill, because I've been that person. I know what I was like at 18, 19, 20 years old versus what I was like at 25. There's a difference. There is a huge difference. And there are literally 25-year-olds, 26-year-olds that are out there playing against these kids. And it's crazy. I mean, now you could say, well, come on, B, you're talking about life isn't fair, but this is something we can control. Things that you can't control, that's life. And that's what we say. But when you can control it, shouldn't you? There's going to be enough that happens in this world that you can't control. But allowing 25 and 26-year-olds to play against 17 to 20-year-olds, let's just call it what it is. That's stupid. And I'm sorry that the guy got hurt 3 years in a row playing football, playing basketball, wrestling, whatever it happens to be. I'm sorry that they got 3 consecutive season-ending injuries. But also look at it from this perspective. Maybe your body's telling you need to stop. Because a lot of times your body will tell you, hey, man, this is not for you. And you push through. Hey, we're hurt again, man. Stop. And then you push through. Hey, buddy, I'm telling you, I've had enough. Okay? This isn't for us. Stop it. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes your body tells you enough football, enough wrestling, enough baseball, and you don't get rewarded or you shouldn't get rewarded for continuously being hurt. That is life. I'm sorry. Because in the real life, nobody rewards you for being hurt. Like, you get sick. God forbid you get sick and you have to go to the hospital and you have a job. They don't say, well, you know what? Yeah, it's fine that you got hurt or you went in the hospital, whatever the case may be. We're just going to stop our business and wait for you to get out of the hospital. And then when you do, just pick up right where you left off. Everything just stops. That's not how the real world works. They find somebody that can do your job. Now, I'm not saying they're going to fire you because I don't think they could. But the world didn't stop because of that, man. It took me a long time to understand that, and some bad things had to happen in my life for me to get it. The first thing happened, I was way too young when my dad died when I was 15. I didn't understand that the world didn't stop. I just thought, man, this is crazy. Was too young to understand it. My brother died when I was 37. I'm like, hold on a second. Why isn't everybody just stopping here so I can grieve? Yeah, that didn't happen. Didn't happen, and it shouldn't have happened. And this is the same thing. I'm sorry that COVID happened, but it did. That shouldn't mean everybody gets an extra year. And now that it's being flushed out, we're going to start seeing rosters. We're going to start seeing things be a little bit more on equal ground than getting a team with 23 to 25-year-olds on it, out there cracking skulls. It's crazy to me. And I know there's going to be some people in the comments that disagree. Please disagree. And we can go back and forth as long as it's respectful, and I'll be respectful to you. But I just think it's insane that the NCAA did that. Life isn't fair. And to put a bottleneck because of unfair circumstances that nobody had anything to do with. Nobody caused it. At least, again, I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but we didn't cause this. So for us to have to suffer, the high school senior has to suffer, or better yet, the high school junior has to suffer because they didn't get extra years. That didn't happen. And so for you to reward people, I think is ridiculous. I flat out think it's ridiculous. I thought it was at the time, and we've seen the consequences of it 5 years later. Now that it's being flushed out, though, now things can be a little bit different, and I'm here for it. Look, like I said, I sympathize with people, but why do we have people out there that are playing 8 years of college athletics? Why are there people out there with 7 years, 9 years? I saw somebody the other day that had played basketball. I can't even remember his name, but he was in the same, went to college at the same time that Jason Tatum did. Same time as a freshman with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is one of the best players in the NBA and has been for the last 6 years. and this guy's still in college. Come on, man. Come on. Like I said, I'm sorry that COVID happened, but sometimes there's things in life that happen that we have no control over, and you just have to roll with the punches. Because like I said, there's nobody that got it worse than the high school senior. Nobody. You couldn't even, and again, I'm not talking about life or death type of stuff. So before anybody gets in the comment, oh, well, people died. Yeah, I knew people that died too. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm just talking about on the entertainment front. Nobody got it worse than the high school senior. Season gone, graduation gone. Still got to move on. College kids, that year didn't even happen. Continue. Not fair. Unfortunate. I think it was ignorant. So appreciate you guys, man. If you disagree or agree, make sure you get in the comments and let me know. If you haven't subscribed already to the channel and you're here, make sure you do. Pass it along to a buddy. Let them know what they think. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. We will talk to you next week. Everybody have a good one.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.